Miami, the magic city. Today it looks like the ultimate billionaires' playground, a dreamscape of pulsing neon lights and towering glass monoliths reflecting the Atlantic. But look beneath the gloss. Only 40 years ago, this wasn't a world-class vacation spot. It was a war zone. While the rest of the country looked the other way, this city was fighting for its life in the shadows of the palms. You see, the Miami we know today wasn't built on tourism, and it wasn't saved by real estate. It was resurrected by crime. We're going back to the era of the cocaine cowboys, a time when the local Federal Reserve had so much physical cash they literally couldn't count it fast enough, and the iconic skyline was being raised brick by brick on a foundation of white powder. Go back a little further, and you'll find that Miami was never meant to be a metropolis. In 1890, it was nothing more than a mosquito-infested swamp, a humid tangle of mangroves where survival was a daily struggle. Julia Tuttle, the mother of Miami, had to practically beg a railroad tycoon just to look at the land. For decades, it remained a sleepy, forgotten corner of the coast. By the middle of the 20th century, it had earned a grim nickname, God's Waiting Room. It was a city for the retired and the weary, a place where time seemed to slow down and eventually stop. By 1979, the economy was flatlining. The treasury was empty, businesses were closing, and the city was functionally bankrupt. Miami was literally sinking back into the swamp it came from. The dream was over, or at least it should have been. But then the wind changed. The cartels arrived, and they didn't just bring chaos. They brought the one thing a dying city needed most: cold, hard cash. In the early 80s, geography became destiny. Miami was no longer just a coast. It was the primary gateway for Colombian cocaine. And the numbers were beyond insane. While high-speed cigarette boats tore through the Atlantic, outrunning the Coast Guard in the dead of night, a financial miracle was happening in the city's vaults. The local Federal Reserve reported something that defied every law of economics: a $5 billion cash surplus. Think about that. Miami had more physical paper bills circulating through its streets than the rest of the United States combined. There was so much money that banks were being built on every street corner, not to serve the public, but to wash the endless tide of white gold. But this prosperity had a shadow. Violence exploded. The cocaine cowboys turned residential neighborhoods into shooting galleries, fighting for every inch of the sidewalk. The police were outgunned and losing the war. But as the blood hit the pavement, something else was rising. While the authorities were struggling to count the bodies, the architects were busy counting the floors. The chaos on the streets was funding the skyline of the future. To hide the billions, the cartels needed more than just banks. They needed concrete. They needed a way to turn a mountain of perishable paper into something permanent, something grand. The iconic 80s skyline, the explosion of neon glass and avant-garde shapes, wasn't just an artistic choice. It was built to launder drug money on a scale never seen before. Building like the Atlantis, with its famous red staircase and hollow center, became monuments to this new, dangerous wealth. Every floor that rose into the clouds was likely paid for in small, unmarked bills. Architects were suddenly given unlimited budgets to dream up the impossible. Without this era of white gold, Miami would have remained a flat, sleepy swamp town. The criminals didn't just bring chaos to the streets, they funded the very foundation of the modern metropolis. They took the grime of the underworld and polished it into a sparkling, glass-walled paradise that the rest of the world couldn't help but envy. Today, Miami has outgrown its dark roots, but that unbridled electric energy remains. It's a city forged in the fires of aggressive ambition and true American hustle and bustle. It took a mosquito-infested swamp, added a decade of chaotic madness, and transformed it into the most glamorous place in the world. It's a place that shouldn't exist, yet it thrives. Subscribe to Urban Roots for more stories of the cities that shouldn't exist.